Hello, and welcome to our Podia Pro Lead Magnet Review series. My name is Ben Tolson, and today I'm joined by Michelle Dale. She is one of our Podia Pros, and Michelle is the founder of Virtual Miss Friday and creator of One Sourcing. She specializes in scalable online business operations services for solo entrepreneurs and small to medium businesses, and she excels in team dynamics with an overall focus on developing exceptional online training resources and Podia websites. So she's 100% qualified to be here with us today, sharing her insights on these lead magnets. And so she's going to bring her expertise and insights to help us break these down. Michelle, thank you so much for being here with us today.
It is such a pleasure. Thank you so much for the invitation to come and do this. I'm so excited.
Yeah, we're very excited to have you. And I just want to say a quick note for those who are tuning in live who were patient and waiting. So the technical issue we were dealing with was, for some reason, the streaming software Podia uses to share these live streams was blocking Egypt, which is where Michelle is currently. And but we got that figured out, and we're
Yeah,
good to
it
go.
didn't want me.
Yeah.
And
Um,
yeah,
and so I'll also say, so Michelle is in Egypt. I'm in the southern United States, and she's several hours ahead of us. So it's the evening time for her, which is the hottest part of the day. And you said it's over triple digits there Fahrenheit.
yeah, yeah, it
Yeah,
really is.
we
And there's
we're
no breeze either today, so
uh,
it's super hot.
yeah, we're having triple digit days also, but it's much earlier. So I have a little towel with me that I keep out here in my studio, which is in my garage, for
That's
hot
such a
days.
sensible thing.
So I haven't had to use it yet this morning. But if you see Michelle kind of fanning herself off or me dabbing myself with the towel, it's because
Yeah.
we live in hot climates. Um, but anyways, folks are already tuning in. They're uh, saying, "Hey, we've got someone from El Salvador tuning in, uh, and already have some questions and stuff. We'll bring those in. I want to do a quick rundown of how this is going to work. So we're going to take a look at three lead magnets. Michelle has taken some notes and looked at those ahead of time, and she's going to be walking us through what's working, what's not working, and then as that's happening, if you have any questions or thoughts or comments, you can go ahead and share those. We're going to take some time after each lead magnet to bring in those questions and comments. So, all right, Michelle, are you ready to dive into the first one?
I am indeed ready. Let's go.
All right. I'm going to go ahead and intro it real quick and then we'll jump in. All right. So, this first lead magnet is from Vienda Maria. Vienda Maria is a woman's personal growth educator with a podcast, online courses, programs, workshops, and live events in which she uses anecdotes, stories, and real world tools to take you on a heart opening journey to remember who you really are. I pulled that directly from her submission when she submitted her lead magnet, and I liked that description. So, all right, you ready to jump into this one?
I am indeed. So first of all, I really liked this one. I liked the colors and I really liked the image. But the first thing that struck me about this was that it was there was nothing that kind of like, when you land on a landing page, you have just a very short period of time to be able to kind of have people think, do I am I supposed to be here, or is there something of value to me here? And
Mm-hmm.
it took me a little while of reading to kind of really try and understand or see what this was about. And my eyes weren't drawn to anything visual because, like you have like the top of the page and there's no image at the top of the page, because obviously on different screens the image is going to come different sizes or different locations. So what I noticed about this is there's quite a lot of just text on the left, but you don't get down to the image until here. So I would definitely reposition the image and have that a little bit more front and center, as you kind of like land on the page. That was the first thing that struck me. And there is some spacing issues. So it's is sort of blocky on the left hand side, where there's sort of too much text. If I was designing this page, I probably would have taken just this top section here and put that next to the image at the top. And then I would have started going into the other text in sections, because people tend not to read long blocks of text or hold their attention on long blocks of text. But if it's divided up with in between different sections, it's kind of easier to follow and easier to guide through. So I definitely would have separated this out. I would have separated this out, put this in another section and this in another section. So that was the first thing. It just seemed very kind of one thing, one piece of text and one very small image, which wasn't drawing the eye. The other thing that I wanted to point out about this page is that it's always best, ideally, to start with the result first. So if I look at this and I see something like pause and pivot your graceful daily routine, that doesn't tell me specifically I need this or what I'm going to get from this immediately. So I would love to see something, and we'll do this in another review because there was another example, but I would love to see something that really tells me what this is going to do for me straight away, rather than tell me what this is straight away. So I think that's another good point there. And down here, and again, it's sort of going through that blockiness. Down here, I would have broken this up. I probably would have removed the megabytes on the left-hand side, because I don't think it's necessary, and it distracts from the content which they're going to be getting. So for me, I think it has a place when you're kind of portraying technical things, like, but when you're portraying something like, I want to download and I want to immerse myself into this, it kind of detracts from things like uncover your values, because your eye is sort of drawn to this on the right hand side. So I would definitely probably have removed that inside Podia and just focused really on the lessons that were inside the course and just the names of the lessons. And again, as we go down here, it just feels like a little bit too bitty. I feel like we could have put these in sections as well, just to kind of highlight what's really in there. The testimonial also, when you get a really long testimonial like this, especially on a landing page, not necessarily on a sales page, but if it's a lead magnet, it always has to be very short, sharp. What we want people to do is don't give people too much information, because at the end of the day, it's usually a free item. A lead magnet is to get subscribers. So on a sales page, we tend to go into more details and more information and more testimonials and social proof and things like that. But with a lead magnet, less is more. So we want to really highlight, this is the benefit of this. This is what you're going to get out of this. You can mention it's a course or a download or something like that. And then maybe just have a small or 2 or 3 small testimonials and then call that good. So less is more, definitely. And then I would definitely say on a lead magnet to remove any distractions from the page. And these products at the bottom are quite distracting. So it seems like you are telling people more information, more about what you do. Maybe this isn't for them. Maybe you want to look at something else. And that's great for information-based pages. But with a lead magnet, again, you want to keep it as short and simple as possible without too many leads out of the page. So not taking too many people off the page or distracting people with other things on the page. Keep it very, very, very focused.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And it's interesting, just having gone through a couple of these, that theme of keeping it really short and sweet has come up a lot. And it almost seems like, when people think about a landing page, they're often thinking about it in terms of a product that is actually for sale, something that they're trying to make money from. And it seems like a lot of these lead magnets are kind of employing some of the tactics that you would use for a paid product, but it is a very different animal, and it requires um, somebody who comes to a lead magnet page who would likely sign up for your email address is looking for something completely different from someone who lands on a sales page interested in purchasing a product.
Yeah, they are definitely completely different. See, for me, like there are, I mean, everyone has different names for it, but for me, there are lead-in pages. So you have a page that leads into something else, you know, and then there's obviously the landing page for a lead magnet, which should be really short, really simple, and really focus on just the end result. You know, do you want to lose weight and feel amazing in less than 30 days? Don't really tell people much more than that. You know, if you want to say it's a course or something like that, that's great, but just really focus on that. And then, you know, I would sort of have reduced this a bit and then put the more of the explanation on the other side. Because again, this is a free thing. There's not much decision making that has to go on. They're not parting with any money. They're not investing anything. They don't need like lots of details. So yeah, definitely less is more.
Yeah, so I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit here, because I love that advice that you shared about with the title not
Yeah.
being not being something that just says this is what it is, but really trying to say like this is what you get out of it. A lot of
Yeah.
our magnet examples kind of have this thing where the title is a description of what the thing is, or whatever they call the lead magnet, and then they don't really start to mention the benefits until they get down into the copy.
Mm.
So if you were to take a stab at looking into the copy and pulling out what seems like the most impactful benefit driven statement that they could turn into a title for this lead magnet.
Um, Probably something like how to live in the present moment at all times. Um, Something like non-negotiable rituals you must have in your life.
Mm,
You can also add the fear aspect as well. So you can add something like what could potentially happen to you if you don't have these rituals in your life, that type of thing. You know, like if you wanted
yeah.
to go into it. So you can like play on different aspects of it, but it's got to be something where someone looks at it and think, I don't have a clue what that is, but I want that result.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
there's something mentioning here about relapsing back to old habits, and that's a very common thing that people do, particularly in this kind of space. So how to stop relapsing back to old habits and only look towards the future, or something like that, or how to put a stop to relapsing back to old habits. There's so much good stuff in here that there's lots of things to choose from. And also that brings us to another point, that if you wanted to test which was the most valuable one, set up 2 or 3 different pages and just kind of test which one has the most conversions. You know, like with different, or, you know, like one, you could do one email, like let's say, for example, you're doing an email marketing campaign and you have a mailing list. You could do one email with one heading and then pull out next month the same freebie, but reframe it completely and see who else signs up for it with a different heading. I like playing around with stuff like that.
Yeah, I really love the testing angle. And I think it also kind of changes the mindset a little bit when you're a creator putting together these lead magnets, and you put a page together like that and put it out there. It can feel like it has some finality to it. Um,
Yeah.
but it really is okay to, I feel like what you're saying just gives people permission to experiment and to try different things and to see if one thing
Mm-hmm.
works better than the other, and to tweak, and it's totally fine to do that.
Yeah. You can also play on the time aspect as well. People like
Mm-hmm.
really quick, easy things. So, like, how to connect to your inner wisdom with a journal and a pen, or something like that. So,
Yeah, I mean
lots of
that
options
just
in this one.
that feels really quick. That was one of the things in a previous discussion. We were talking about the language that's being used to describe the experience someone will have with this lead magnet, and what folks are looking for is something quick and easy. And so any language that you have that kind of hints at the idea that, hey, this is just a quick thing, but it could have a big impact.
Yeah.
What other thoughts do you have on this one?
For me, that was pretty much it. The also, I would probably have experimented with use of color in things that you want. Like if you're going to use a little bit of longer text and you do want to add that to the page, make sure you break it down in the most important things. So if I was going to make this page, if I wanted to really highlight something like what people are going to get from it or what it's going to teach you, for example, the I'm going to teach you section is actually where the value is on this page. So what I probably would have done is made the background of that section the same yellow color as in pause and pivot. So it would have really popped out to me. Because the eye will, if it's long text, the eye will draw into the sections which are popping. So you can make those sections maybe like a color behind, or an image underlay behind or something to kind of make that stand out, if you are using longer form text. I can't hear you anymore.
Sorry, that was on my end. So
All
I
right.
know there's yeah, I know there's an opt-in button that appears at the top of the page as you scroll down. I didn't see. Does she include a sign up button anywhere else on the page
No,
besides that first
there's
section?
no, there's the get pause and pivot now, which I see at the end of that really long piece of text. And
Hmm.
yeah, again, it's about keeping the something short at the top with the button directly, so people don't have to scroll or think too much or go too far. So yeah, that's a really good point as well. But if it was in sections, and which would push the image up further up higher, you would have that button directly there with a short piece of text, a button, and the image on there as well. And then you can, like I say, add things below. But if you have a couple of places where the button is visible in there.
Yeah. So include ways, especially if you're going to have long text, include places where they can opt in at several points during on the page.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, definitely.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, if you don't have anything else on this one, we can take a quick break before jumping into the next one.
Okay, sure.
And there is a this isn't related to this lead magnet that we just looked at, but there was a question that came in from Gloria Sloan Castanet. Oh my gosh, so bad. Castellanos. All right, says hello again from El Salvador. And she says, what do you think about quizzes as lead magnets?
What do I think about? I would say that a quiz is good as a lead magnet if it allows you to find something else out about yourself. Okay, so if it's something like, you have these quizzes. We did one for a client recently about how do you know if you're a narcissist or not, or test yourself, to see if you're a narcissist or something like that. I think the ones where you get, then those are probably quite good for people. But I think if it's just like a quiz, unless it's telling you something about yourself, I probably would say use something more quick and easy, something that people don't have to work at to be able to do it, or the quiz has to be super short. I can't hear you again. Is that me?
No, it's me. I keep on muting because I'm wanting to make sure I don't have any noise coming in, then I forget to unmute. So totally my fault. Um, so we had a lead magnet example that came in, and it wasn't a quiz, but it was a diagnostic framework for productivity. And so I can see something related to that, like a, a quiz to help you find out your productivity score or something like that. It's something,
Sure.
but like you said, it has to be something where it's like, if I land on your page and I take the quiz, I learned something about myself that I didn't know before that I believe you might be able to help me with.
Yeah. Yeah, then it's good. And the thing is, if it's too long or it's too complicated, then what happens is usually the habits of people, they'll sign up for it, but then it's like, oh, I won't do that now, I'll do that later. And then it kind of goes into the inbox of later, which
Yeah.
never happens. Tomorrow never comes.
Yeah, that's a really great insight. All right, are you ready to jump into the next one?
Yeah, sure. Are we on? Can you see?
Yes. All right, so this next one comes to us from Nicole Ovenshine. She's a mama of three, soon to be four children, and she is seeking to support women through womb energetics and neurosomatics trainings. All right, what do you have for us on this one, Michelle?
So I picked this one because I'm a mama too. I've got five children. So I'm always interested in mommy kind of stuff. And for this one, just generally, I really loved um, the logo and the style and the feel. But there are definitely some things I think could have been improved. The first one I would say is that when you come onto the page and you see this image at the top, there's other things on the left hand side here, but you've got to have super mega good eyesight to be able to see what these are, and you shouldn't have to linger too long on something just to be able to read it. It
Mm-hmm.
should be a little bit bigger, a little bit bolder. I should be able to just look at the page and then see it directly. So for me, the image was a beautiful image, but too small on the left hand side. I had to like squint a little bit. And then I noticed as I was going down as well that the size and the color of the font, like which is in the subtitle, was also a little bit difficult to read, and again a little bit difficult to read here. So for this one, the font stood out to me as the first sort of issue, and the fact that everything needed to. I've got quite good eyesight. I think I've got 20. Kind of like, what was that? So that was the first thing. And always be careful of the colors of text when you're using color in text. It's fine to do that, but just make sure, like at a glance, you can just really, you don't have to work too hard to. The next thing I wanted to bring up on this page, and this is me, I don't know, maybe I'm a little bit OCD or a real stickler for detail, but particularly always make sure that if we use these boxes, we have a very similar amount of text in them. So they're all lining up perfectly.
Mm-hmm.
So this one, for example, drops down slightly below. So it's not a problem technically, but it just looks a little messy. And if I'm going to land on a page and I want to feel like I'm sitting comfortably on that page and it's flowing very smoothly and everything is, lined up very well. So this is not an error or a problem or an issue. Everyone is different. But for me, if I see like the middle box is dropping down and then this box is smaller, I would have rearranged the boxes. So one row of boxes was completely the same size, and then maybe the two bigger ones would have gone on the bottom. So I just would have rearranged the boxes there to be kind of like more lined up.
Mm-hmm.
Um, then for me, there was an issue when we got down to these boxes, because for me, lead magnets, if we're talking about a lead magnet, this is like something I would say that is a pre-lead magnet, because it doesn't focus on one thing. There's, again, we talked about this in the other one. If there's too many distractions, too many different things going on the page, instead of someone spending the time and sitting there and looking and thinking which one do I want, it doesn't happen these days on these types of pages. You know, people want one singular focus. Do I want it? Do I need it? I'm going to take it. So there was too many different focuses with too much stuff on this. And this kind of goes into the marketing aspect. If you were going to one message, so it would be the one message for stepping into your power. It'd be the one message for embodying your flow, something like that. And you would send people directly to a page which was that particular thing. And then as I started clicking around this, I noticed that when you click on the items, they're going kind of all over the place. And so this one, for example, release blocks and increasing flow, I believe, yeah, this went to YouTube. So instead of giving me something that I can sign up for, it's taking me to a completely different website, which is the opposite of what we want on a lead magnet or a landing page. We want it to draw the person in. So what you got two choices. The first one is you can set up a product and then you can put the video behind the product. So people sign up for it. Obviously, the whole point is we want their email address. So if I'm clicking on this, the chance is lost. So you can put it behind into a product and put the YouTube video embedded into the product, have people sign up, and then they can watch the video. Or alternatively, you can, if it's a free video that's kind of introducing what it is, you would put the video on the landing page for the lead magnet. So I would want to see the video embedded on the website. Even if it was just embedded into a normal page or something like that, I'm still staying on the website. We don't want to take people off if we can help it. If we want people to subscribe, for example, I don't know what her thinking was behind this, but maybe she wanted people to subscribe to her YouTube channel. But it would have been better to embed the video on the actual page itself and then have a button, like say, for example, click to subscribe to my YouTube channel, rather than actually just directly take people away from it. The same thing happened here on the complimentary call. You know, it's great in Podia. You've got the opportunity to embed Calendly into the pages. So do that instead of having a button that takes people away and off the website. So if you have something like a YouTube video, if you have something like Calendly, if you have any of those things which can be embedded into Podia, use Podia and don't take people away. So that was one thing that I really wanted to kind of highlight. And again, we have the same issue here with spacing and sectioning. So I love white and I love the colors that this person has used. But again, I probably would have used the use of color in the underlays or in the backgrounds to, again, otherwise it's going to look too white. There's sometimes you get, you know, I love white and I love working with white. And I loved these colors, but I think sometimes it's just a little bit too white. And when you have too much white and too much big spaces and areas of sections where there's nothing, you're misusing the page. I feel, you know, that's not a good use of the space on the page. So try to rearrange the text and rearrange the layers and, you know, rearrange the settings, because there's many different options inside Podia between grids and images, video, text sections. Make it smaller pieces of text and smaller blocks, and again use the use of color in the underlay to highlight the things which are really important. I think it's really good that she's put a little bit about her, especially if you're leading people in from, let's say, for example, Facebook ads or something like that, and nobody knows who you are, and it's a cold kind of lead. But again, on lead pages, if you're going to do that, make it short. And this was a little bit long, and the image, it's a great image, but there's too much white space. So you need to really think about the design and the layout of the page to not have this spacing issue, which was on the other lead magnet page as well. So those are my primary things. Also with the footer, this is my preference again, I tend to like to keep the footer a different color to segment it away from the main content of the page as well. Those are my primary thoughts about this, but the really big one was the fact that it takes people away from the page, and it doesn't really kind of like, to me, this didn't say lead magnet at all. This was a lead in page to something else.
Yeah, and that's kind of similar to the issue of the last page. It's, if you're thinking about it in terms of what a lead magnet is and what it's trying to accomplish, this is doing some of those things, but it's also doing the function of other types of pages. And
Yeah.
as you were talking about, it taking people away to different things, it got me thinking about the experience of a person, you know, coming to this page and really asking yourself, what is the step that someone took before they came to this page? And so I think about, maybe it's a social media post. So then in your social media post, are you mentioning everything that's on this page, or are you focused on one thing? And then if you are focused on one thing and they land on this page, what is that experience like? Because they're expecting to see that one thing, but they're met with all of these other things.
Yeah.
And
And
yeah,
also, like while we're on that, there's another wording issue, in here as well. So like for this, it could be something like, you know, increase your confidence in 5 minutes, but
yeah.
don't tell anybody anything like that, and click, like it's got to be click here to subscribe, watch the video to increase your confidence in 5 minutes. It's got to, again, say less. And she did a good job of condensing, the text, but then it has to be just that, it has to be just this one thing that we're focusing on. Because again, yeah, you're right, in social media. And also people often, when they land on things, they don't know, like, I'm a mom myself, quite a soulful person. But when it's something like healing the sister wound, I wouldn't have made that pop. I would have made the explanation, of what it was pop a little bit more. Um, like if I didn't know what the sister wound was, for example, I wouldn't know that I needed it.
Hmm. Yeah, that makes a lot of
So
sense.
yeah. So it's kind of like you would miss, if you miss too much the point of the, you got to sort of explain it in real layman's people who don't know they need it will see that they need it. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I'm actually, as I'm looking at this, well, and I want to speak to what you just said too, because uh, that comes up a lot as well with other lead magnets, where there's kind of this, it's not exactly insider language, but it's something that, you know, people who are familiar with the content tend to understand the idea of the sister wound or embodiment or inner power, things like that. And it can feel so familiar as someone who's teaching those concepts, and someone who's a part of communities that work in those concepts. It can feel so familiar that it feels universal, when really, people who are coming to your page might only vaguely have an idea of what that really means.
Yeah. But it still might be something really applicable and appropriate. And at the
Hmm.
end of the day, lead magnet sales pages, online products, digital products, they all come down to the same very simple 2 points. And it's the problem and the solution.
Hmm.
And, if you can just focus on those 2 points, whatever you create behind it to resolve that solution, you always have to indicate, is this your problem? And sign up for my solution. So you've really got to focus on the problem, or people want to resolve or solve or something like that. And if you can do that as a start of a lead page, or then you're kind of like there, if you can focus on something like that. The complimentary call, that's something that I definitely would have put behind, in the members area or something like that. So it's like, and there's another thing about lead magnets, and I'm kind of going off on a tangent here, but we use a system called Bonjoro, and we love to welcome subscribers using Bonjoro videos, which is an integration that you can set up through Zapier to come into Podia. So every time someone subscribes to my lead magnet, we can send out a video sort of like welcoming them. Say, hey, Joe, thanks so much for subscribing. What can I do to help you now? If you want to have a complimentary call, click this link to join, to get it from my calendar. So you don't feel too accessible. And it also helps to kind of like pre-qualify people as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that idea. And it's difficult because when you're trying to think in terms of giving away free value, giving away your time can be one of those things, but it can also easily get away from you. So
yeah, it's not for me like a consultation like she has on here. If she's using that as a lead magnet, for me, a consultation is something that comes a little bit later down the line. I wouldn't use a lead magnet purely as a consultation for building subscribers. And it depends on the goal at the end of the day, and it depends on the intended aim of the lead magnet. But to me, a lead magnet is something that you want to use to really quickly build up subscribers and to build up your email list. And I probably would use something different for that.
As I'm looking at the website, I noticed in the URL, it's freebies, and the navigation link in the top that takes you to this page is titled Gifts for You.
Yeah.
And so I think the question I would have is, what is the desired outcome for Nicole? For having people click on. I mean, if I see Gifts for You, I'm a little bit intrigued, and I might click on that.
Yeah.
And then it's definitely, just looking through it, it looks like it's a lot of value. But then what's the natural progression, step after that you're wanting people to take? And I think as you work down the line and answer those questions, it brings a lot of clarity to how you want to lead people into that. And a lot of times, like you're saying, that brings it back to give them one thing to do, make it short and sweet, address a problem, offer a solution.
There's another thing in this case, because I know these, especially so giving, and like it's a big thing to kind of like, you want to give as much as you can, you want to help as many people as you can, and things like that. And sometimes it can be a bit counterproductive. So what I would personally do, if I did have multiple lead magnets and they all kind of corresponded together, I would set up an email campaign. So I would bring people in on one lead magnet. I would pick one and I would say, okay, this is my best lead magnet. And then I would drip feed the rest of the lead magnets in an email campaign. So if you really, like, send out an email campaign, if you really love my lead magnet on this, I've got something else for you, click here and go. They feel like the value isn't just, oh, this is for everybody and anyone can get it. Once you're on the email list, and you a lot of nurturing that way and make it feel a little bit more exclusive. And then even if you say something like on the landing page or the lead page, like, when you subscribe, I'm going to send you a series of emails. It's going to introduce you to, other free products and things that I have. That's probably also a better way of doing it, because then you're not overwhelming someone with everything all at once. Like, send one email out and then a few days later send another email out saying, did you know that we also had Embody Your Flow guidebook? This is going to help you do blah, blah, blah. Click here to access that. So if you're using this as a specific way to kind of like see what people are interested in, what are people signing up for, you could do it that way on the email list as well, or just, get people on your email list and give everyone else the content for free via email. Get people opening your emails.
Yeah. Oh, I love that advice so much because it honors the original intention of being generous and giving away free value, but it does it in a way that deepens. I mean, that seems like a much more powerful way to deepen the relationship early on. Is they're excited enough to receive the one valuable thing from you, but if you're also including these other things, then it's not, oh, I'm going to choose between one of these five, and I'm accepting this one gift and then I'm getting four more.
Yeah. And it feels more intimate because you're doing it, through email, and here's something, and if you get, like email marketing to me is like really very, very powerful tool. So, yeah, exactly. Use what it was intended to do, but use it also as a way to nurture the relationship with the subscriber. All they have to do is put their email address in once, and that your job is kind of done. So use it to keep them instead of to get them,
We have a comment from My Awesome Channel. Says, love that. Yeah, that's phenomenal advice. I'm gonna have to like tuck that away for myself for future use. All right, what else do you have on this one?
Okay, so for me, I think that was it. Just everybody really pay attention to the spacing and the use of color on the page. Yeah, feel good about that. Yeah.
All right, so I'm going to bring in another question. This is another one that it was not related specifically to this lead magnet, but it's a question for you, Michelle, from My Awesome Channel. It says, "Hi, Michelle. What has been the most successful lead magnet in your business?"
The most successful lead magnet, again, this comes down to goals. So I have different success with lead magnets depending on the goal that I want to achieve. So I'll give you one example of this. If I'm going to sell a program or a course, or the purpose of my lead magnet is to bring people in because I want to sell them a product at the end. And let's say that's a very high ticket product. Let's say $997 or something like that. The best lead magnet for that is, or has been, a 3-part video training series with a webinar at the end where you pitch the product for sale at the end. So what I would tend to do is have people sign up to 3 videos, okay? So when they sign up to the 3 videos, they will watch the videos in consecutive days, and you would and then I would do a webinar at the end. My daughter's just going. Then I would do a webinar at the end. Oh, Mama, 1 second.
No worries.
It's all live, folks. And then I would basically do the sale on the webinar. And I would sell the product that way. So that's kind of good for like if you're selling a high ticket item or a high ticket product. But then obviously if you are selling a lower ticket item or something else like that, then it would be a different lead magnet. Sorry about that.
Oh, no worries. I was going to mention, I'm a dad of 6 kids. Our youngest is 8. So.
Okay. Wow. Okay. So these things.
So we're a little bit further past the younger stage, but I remember those moments intimately when you're
really?
Yeah. So
I have
worries at all.
My nanny here, but she obviously dropped the ball there on that one.
Yeah, no worries at all. All right. Yeah, that's That was great. And I love that advice of really thinking about, like, trying to think about the lead magnet as it relates to the thing that you're trying to lead people to, and not just thinking about it as like, oh, this is the kind of a cookie cutter, one size fits all sort of solution.
Yeah, it definitely isn't. And, a lot of people will want, like, oh, what, like there's not one magic formula lead magnet for everything. It's very much about, yeah, which is most fitting and which is best. And also, it depends on the audience as well. Some audiences have different attention spans. Some audiences are more into visuals and videos. Some prefer guides and downloads. So it's the subtleties of the audience as well.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Are you ready to jump into this last one from Jordan?
Yeah, I am.
All right.
Okay.
So this one's from Jordan Anderson, who's a video creator who teaches others how to get their YouTube channels off the ground. So pretty
Yeah. I
straightforward.
thought, yeah, I picked this one because this one is the third one because it was really different to the others. So I thought, it's good to kind of have a little bit of variety. The first thing that I noticed about this one is it didn't really have much curb appeal when it comes to a landing page. So it was really simple, and obviously simple is something that we've been encouraging people to do. But I'm thinking this is a little bit too basic. It was a little bit like it was so on point and good. Like you can easily see, okay, well, this is what it is. But at the same time, I felt like there could have been a little bit different to it. And this is again mainly about the wording. So for me, it wasn't descriptive enough of what I get. So 99 YouTube ideas. Okay, so what is that? Is that ideas for videos? Is that ideas for how to grow your YouTube channel? Is it ideas? So it was like there's a couple of things. So unless you actually kind of started reading, the thing that popped wasn't the thing. Again, it's what it is. It's not what it does for you.
Mm-hmm.
99 YouTube ideas that will skyrocket. So this was the big thing for me about this. It wasn't descriptive enough. So like I would have put something at the top here that said something like, do you want to rock it on YouTube, get 99 powerful YouTube ideas that will get you started in minutes and help you skyrocket your views? Something
Yeah.
like this, like really like, okay, yes, I want that. The second thing is I'm going to hazard a guess that this guy is a YouTuber. Okay, so I would think he was because he's selling YouTube ideas and he seems to have experience in what works and what doesn't. But I never saw it even in the social channel. And I don't see anything where I can sort of say, okay, well, do I want the ideas from this guy? So there's no example of his YouTube videos. And for a YouTuber, I would have expected to see this instead of it being an image. I would have expected to see a video
Yeah.
or
And
something to his YouTube page or something like that. So there's no let's say it's a authority or a social proof or something like that.
mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm looking at the image that he chose for the that main section. It has the YouTube play button, and my instinct anytime I see a play button over an image is to want to click on it. And so I'm kind of
Yeah.
uh and it also fits, like he's presumably on YouTube, and so he's would be on camera, um and so I almost expect, just because of the context, to see a video of him pitching me on this or telling me what it is.
Yeah, and this is really interesting because over the years, I've seen this so much in online marketing. People are getting more and more suspicious and they're getting more and more kind of like protective of their email addresses.
Mm-hmm.
So when you land on something like this, I wouldn't immediately have thought, okay, this guy's an authority on YouTube, because I would have wanted to see his YouTube channel. I would have wanted to see something. And that again brings me on. I'm not saying he's shady or anything like that. He's probably a really nice person. Um, but it kind of brought me to like, okay, well, I wanted to then look for other sort of social proof or other indications that this guy was okay, he's a legit YouTuber, what I'm going to learn from him. And then I got basically down to the fact that he'd had over 1,300 people subscribe, or have signed up, but then I don't see a single testimonial or a single anything of social proof from those 1,300 people. So when you're starting out and something's new, you probably won't have that and you can leave it off. But if you've got 1,300 people who have already subscribed to the thing that you're, be a little bit of feedback about how this has helped them or what they've thought of the product. And it would have been very, as this landing page is, to have added something like that. I
Yeah,
want to
yeah.
see this Jordan Henderson. I want to see his face. I want to see who he is. Particularly because YouTube is such, it's so exposed, it's so like it's about being front and center, or trying to be front and center of everything. So I definitely would have liked to have seen more of Jordan injected into this page.
Yeah, I'm looking through other places in his website as well to see if Jordan makes an
He's a,
appearance. And
he's a shy YouTuber.
yeah,
But
and
the other
that's,
thing
that's a
is,
niche too, but
yeah, the other thing is, I was going to say that it's a niche because it could be like, well, if you are too shy to be on camera, I can show you how you can still be a successful YouTuber without showing your face. I mean, like,
mhm.
I know loads of people would be interested in that. But again, that's not something that he's, and again, I would be wondering myself, like, if these ideas were about being on camera, are they ideas for like maybe YouTube Shorts or something like that? It's this is something where it's maybe too less is more, but less is it's like there's got to be that balance of the right amount of information. And I know what I get here. He's done a great job of that. I know that there are YouTube ideas, and I know that something about writer's block or something, but then I'd be like, well, it's a video. What are you writing? It's just, again, it's like a little bit too non-specific, I think.
I
Um,
Yeah, yeah, I agree. And it really is such a it's kind of a challenging balance when it comes to lead magnets because it's very easy to go the opposite direction, and put too much content, make it too overwhelming for somebody. But there's also like if you don't give them enough of the right information, then it's also difficult for somebody to make a decision. And that's really what it comes down
yeah,
to, right? Is like how the purpose of your lead magnet and the copy and the images that you use, everything serves to make it easy for them to feel comfortable and confident to give you their information.
absolutely. And I think as well, if you put position yourself in any industry as an expert, because obviously if you're selling digital products, if you're doing digital content for people and that's your business and that's how you make money, you have to portray yourself at some point as some form of authority in something. Now, if this guy is an authority in YouTube videos, I want to see one of his YouTube videos. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think even with the page as it is, even if he just had that YouTube video and that, it was just a minute or something like that, that just said, put your name and email, this is what you're going to get. This is, I think that also would have done it. So again, it's like with the addition of the multimedia, he may have got away with it. So, yeah. Other
I'm
than that, there's not really much else to say to it.
yeah, I'm looking at these bullet points, and that last one really, for some reason, just really calls out to me. The 5 frameworks used by YouTube legends.
Yeah. Yeah, it does. And
I mean,
maybe that would have been a better title for the actual whole thing rather than 99 YouTube ideas. And then you kind of do a subtitle, like with these 99 YouTube ideas, you can, you know.
Yeah.
And it's strange because that just shows you the subtleties of how you position words on a page and the order that they go in, and, you know, like how you frame something, that it's exactly the same but different, and how just moving the text around and rewording slightly can have such a dramatic difference on whether people give you their email or not.
Yeah. Absolutely. And that comes back to something you were sharing earlier about, you know, it's okay to experiment with different versions and see which one's more effective, and kind of
Yeah,
test. And so, all
absolutely.
right. Any other thoughts on this one?
No, that was it for this one. I mean, again, I would have changed the design slightly. I would have, you know, like if it was
Hmm.
YouTube video, I would have definitely put the YouTube video at the top, had the sign up underneath. I would have centered it a little bit more, you know, made the video shine a little bit more. Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
All right. Well, my awesome channel said, thank you. That's super helpful. So I really
Yeah.
appreciate you folks who tuned in and hung out with us today. Michelle, it was wonderful getting to hear your insights, and so many great tips in there. I know folks are walking away from this with a lot. There was one viewer who was just getting on a plane and wasn't able to stay for the whole thing, but is looking forward to going back and watching later. So this replay will be available on the Podia YouTube channel. So if you know miss something, or you want to go back and watch one of these again, you'll be able to do that. I'm going to take a moment here and say something real quick about the Podia Creator Fellowship. So let me get to that real quick here. So if you've created a lead magnet with Podia, it could be worth $2,000. We're currently running our July Creator Fellowship, where you can enter to win $2,000 of no strings attached cash simply by sharing your lead magnet with us. All you have to do is go to podia.com/creator-fellowship and click on the apply a now button and send that in to us. And if you don't already have a lead magnet, we put together an easy to follow guide that can help you create a lead magnet in under 30 minutes. So it's here connected to that page. You can work through that and you can make a lead magnet, submit that to us, and you have a chance to win up to $2,000. So again, you just go to podia.com/creator-fellowship before midnight, July 19th, for a chance to win. So definitely check that out. And again, all of the replays for these lead magnet reviews are going to be on our Podia YouTube channel. That's youtube.com/Podia TV. Michelle, thank you so much again for joining us and for sharing all of your expertise. You've been very generous and flexible, and so we're really honored to have you. What's the best way
Thank
for folks
you so
to,
much.
yeah, what's the best way for folks to connect with you?
Okay, so they can connect with me at www.virtualmissfriday.com, and that's my main website. Go to my contact page, where you can subscribe to any of my social media channels in the footer.
All right, awesome. We have a few more comments come in here at the end. Lauren, oh, let's see if I can, there we go. Lauren Kerr Harley said, always nice to get some ideas for fine tuning. And that's exciting. I mean, to think from these broadcasts, I mean, people are going and they're making changes that will hopefully help them be more successful. Robert said, missed most of it, but was able to catch the end. I'll have to go back and watch. And then Royalty Fitness said, thank you, great information. So, all right, Michelle, well, thanks again. And thank you folks for tuning in. And hopefully we'll have one of these again in the near future. Stay tuned to our YouTube channel. But until then, we'll see you next time. Bye, everyone.